Many of the so-called deaths, 10,000 people have died. But you know what they're also telling you? Overestimated the number of deaths.
Then you are home.
The Valley's News Talk and Podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix.
Okay, so I'm really confused because, my dad's Latino and my mom is white. So does that mean I can only listen to, half of Chips and Salsa?
That's the smartest thing I've ever heard anyone say about anything.
Welcome back to your Chips and Salsa show. And this is Don Nohl, El Alacran, with my fantastic guest host, the Reverend
Myron L. Jackson.
And soon to have his show coming up, the Myron L. Jackson Show.
Yes.
And with us today we have Nohl Rosen. But before that, we have this show is sponsored by Frontera Telecommunications, and they're located inside the Ranch Market at 5802 West Thomas Road. It's a telecommunications business that helps people that need the internet. They just go into the store and they give them advice on the best possible programs available on the internet, and they try to frame up a good package for them if they're still looking and they need a little assistance. It's called the Frontera Telecommunications. It's inside Ranch Market at 5802 West Thomas Road, Phoenix. Their phone number is 623-845-9411. Again, 623-845-9411. Call them or just go to the Ranch Market at 58 and Thomas. So thank you, Frontera, for being our sponsor. Today we have Nohl Rosen with the Wickenburg Patriots. Or Patriots of Wickenburg. And Nolan, I'll let you talk a little bit about that to our chipsters out there.
Well, we are a conservative patriot group up in Wickenburg. We've been in existence for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. I got it started because there was no the Republican Club went bye-bye. They had run its time, I guess, with the founder. There were some health issues. We filled the need for what is needed up there, because right now, patriotism, we've got conservatives in our group, we've got Republicans, we've got independents, we've got veterans, we've got a whole mishmash of people, and it's just basically people who care about this country. And we're fighting to get this country back from, obviously, the progressive left. Communism has rolled in, and we made some pretty big stands with what we've done with the pandemic last year, and now this year we're dealing with a new crisis, the forced vaccinations of I don't even want to call it vaccinations. I call it just basically forcing you to take poison is what these vaccine passports, and I'm not for them at all. And then, of course, there's other issues that we have taken on, but basically we are a bunch of patriotic Americans that are fighting to get this country back.
And that's you're based out of Wickenburg.
Yes.
You're the Patriots of Wickenburg.
Yeah, and I used to live in the Valley. I moved up there 5 years ago and started my business up there. And more or less, my business moved with me because I was still in business in the Valley, and I do computer repair, IT work, and
so you repair computers.
Yes. Basically, troubleshoot a lot of the problems. People have viruses, malware. I've had to replace hard drives, laptops. I've done a lot of stuff. Networking,
so you have
computers,
a studio at your house to repair?
Yeah, I'm home based.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going out in this. I go out further out than Wickenburg. Out to places like Siloam, and I'm enjoying the rural lifestyle. I left Phoenix, the Phoenix metro area. I'm enjoying my rural.
And you got two beautiful cats.
Two beautiful cats, Liberty and Freedom.
Liberty and Freedom.
Yeah.
Good names for cats.
Oh, yeah.
And you're running for office, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Let our chipsters know about that?
I am running for the Arizona House of Representatives in LD 13. But right now we're looking at redistricting.
Right.
So the LD may not be the LD that I'm in may not be the LD I end up in, because as you know, every 10 years they redistrict. So I could end up facing other opponents, not
Right.
just not the ones we have, or we end up. What is interesting about Wickenburg is that we're in two different districts, because we have two different counties. We've got Maricopa and Yavapai. I happen to live in the Maricopa side, so that's LD 13, which is Whitman, Morristown, Goodyear, Tonopah. As of course Wickenburg. We've got Litchfield Park in there, Buckeye. It goes all the way down to Yuma and Aguila, but of course with the redistricting, that could change.
So that's LD 13.
We're in I'm in LD 13 right now.
Oh yeah, because I know that LD. We've met a few times with that LD. So what are you going to bring into the office? What problems do you see that you can really help the Republican Party correct or assist in correcting? Because I know there's a lot of things going on.
Voter integrity is a big one.
Oh, wow.
I actually got together with Representative Blackman as a concerned citizen and had him send in for draft a voter integrity bill.
Oh, wow.
Basically showing your ID at the polls, which is what we all should really be doing, is showing our ID. Basically hand counting the ballots, no machines. We're going to take the
That's what they
machines out
used
of
to
it.
do, is have to show an ID.
Yeah, and I don't know, but given the fact that I call them Democrats, I guess for professional reasons I should call them Democrats, but we know that they have cheated in this last election. We know what the audit is happening, right? Has taken place. There's still a lot of things going on, but it's not just that. It's, like I said, showing ID at the polls, eliminate the machine so it's hand counted. It's paper ballots, so you have those big threes right there. No mail-in ballots, but it allows for military, because obviously they have to get their ballots to the polls. No more early voting. We'll go back to absentee balloting like they did back in the old days. So really, we're eliminating a lot of what the voters have had concerns with. I listened to, and I saw what I wanted as a voter myself. So I said, we need to fix, because right now the legislature, all they're doing is potholes. They're just filling in potholes. They're not solving the problem. They're just basically filling in holes. When you're going to build a solid road, you're going to build a foundation of a house, you want a solid foundation, not something that's going to come down on you. It's constitutional. And of course, you're going to vote in your district like they did back in the old days. So we have, those types of issues. And I think this bill is kind of what I call a rewind the clock bill, because it's basically taking you back to the old days of voting. So everything that you would want, I don't know if it's going to fix everything, but I think it's going to fix a lot of things. And I'm listening to the voters, because I'm running for a House seat, and I think they want people that are involved. I believe in getting involved.
Not yes sir, man. Yes, man. Or did you say yes sir? Yes sir.
I am not going to be a yes man when it comes to being in that legislature.
What question do you have for him, my distinguished co-host?
My only question I have for you is, when you prepare and you present and you are told we regrettably can't accept what you're proposing, what do you have in place of it?
Well, right now, that's the best thing that we've got. And to be honest, if they're not willing to do it, now, and I've heard a lot of people say, I want it done now. I go to the legislature, I'm going to pitch my own bill. I'm going to repitch it. Okay? Because there's some other ideas that I have for the bill that has actually creeped in, like having the districts count as the votes are coming in, have the district counted, and then by paper result, because we know that every time you have technology, it can be manipulated. Yes, people can be manipulated too. But what I have in place in it, I think this is the best thing we've got. And this is what the voters want. Okay, this is what I'm hearing from voters. And I sat down and I thought long and hard about what the backup plan would be. And the backup plan
before
is...
we go to your backup plan, we're going to go on a break.
Okay.
And we're going to come back with Nohl Rosen. And so keep that in mind, because we want to keep this going.
Okay.
Of your plan. And it's very important, because Wickenburg is a very important part of our state and very important in the scheme of things. So, and Nolan lives there. He does everything there, because you see him all the time representing Wickenburg. So come back in about a couple of minutes after the break and listen to the Chips and Salsa show. Don Jorge with my distinguished co-host today,
Reverend Myron Jackson.
Of the soon-to-be Myron Jackson show.
The Valley's home for podcasts. Talk Central Phoenix.
Can I listen too?
You got it. Take it away. Yes, sir.
Welcome back to your Chips and Salsa show. This is Don Jorge Alacran with my distinguished co-host,
Reverend Myron Jackson.
And our guest right now is Nohl Rosen with the politics.
The Patriots of Wickenburg.
Patriots of Wickenburg. I don't know why I want to say Wickenburg.
That's all right, George. That's all right. We're human. We make mistakes. Even me.
You were talking about.
Yeah, I was answering the Reverend's question, and it is voter driven initiative, action, and part of the plan is to get the voters behind it. And when you get voters that are determined to have something like this passed, you have to get them to show up in the Capitol. It's about getting involved. But if they go ahead, because it's actually Representative Blackman who sent it in for draft, so he is obviously going to have to take up the mantle to push it forward. I think we can probably get support, but I think it takes working with people, and it takes people getting involved. But if they go ahead and they say, well, we're not really interested, then I'll say, fine, I'm running for the House. You've given us our answer where you stand with the people, and I'll push the bill when I get into the legislature, if that happens.
And how are the politics over there in Wickenburg when you attend the meetings? Do they get rambunctious? I heard you got thrown out of one.
Yeah. I had a tangle with the current mayor of Wickenburg. I was tired of the corruption. I spoke out against the corruption that was going on in the town. I stood up for our constitutional rights, because people's constitutional rights are being violated there. And I said no more. And to give you the short version, the current mayor, Mayor Pereira, had me escorted out of the meeting. He didn't want to hear what I had to say. And that's par for the course of what's going on. Because as you know, I ran for town council, so I know kind of the inner workings.
So the Constitution, when it relates to citizens' rights, doesn't exist in Wickenburg? People can't speak up at council meetings? Or what's
our side, the ones that bring up the problems that truly want to fix the town and really want to right the ship, we're considered malcontents by the other side. We're considered radicals. I don't really. They can call me all the bad names that they want. And they can call our side all the bad names they want. I wear with a badge of honor. George. I've been around since the days of the Tea Party.
Yeah.
And I've stood on street corners with the American flag, and stood up against Obama, and McCain, and as far as I'm concerned, right now, our president is President Trump. I don't recognize the other guy.
Yeah, I like your hat.
Yeah, I want to get the 2024 version. I'm hoping to get the 2024 version of this hat.
And then, you've been with the Second Amendment, back in the Second Amendment as long as I've known you.
Yeah,
I mean, you carry, and you believe in the right to carry firearms. You believe in the right of every citizen to have a firearm.
Yes,
and
I'm
respectably
a constitutionalist.
because that's our Constitution.
Yes, And I got to tell you, our government has strayed so far from the Constitution. They really have. Quite a number of the people that are in the legislature, quite a number of people in Congress, a lot of them just don't understand the Constitution, but they'll wave the banner. Right. And one of the reasons I'm running is to get our country back, not just to get our country back, but to get our state back too. We've got a lot of problems in the state, and we're barely hanging on in the legislature, as you know. I think you're a precinct committeeman?
Yeah, I'm a state committeeman, a precinct committeeman, and first vice chair of my LD.
My mother used to be a state committeeman for the Republican Party in LD 23.
And this power grab by Biden, what do you think? It's a power grab. Mandating vaccines?
It's tyranny.
Nobody should be forced to do it.
No, it should be. It's funny that back in the day, the left was always preaching "my body, my choice," and now they're not doing it.
Right.
When we dare to exercise our rights under the Constitution, all of a sudden they say we're the bad guys. They're trying to label us, and the mainstream media is doing the same thing. They're labeling us the bad guys. But as I put it to quite a number of people, we have phones on our cameras. We can record. We don't need the media anymore. I don't think they've understood that the lamestream media, I'm not saying your show, because your show is needed. You're getting the word out there and you're doing it independently. But I'm talking about the big show.
They're being paid. They're being paid to by their sponsors not to talk about certain things, and if they do, the sponsors pull out.
Yeah.
You've seen it happen over and over again to the Republican talk shows that they didn't like. Now the Democratic talk show, CNN, and you see nobody pulling out of some of the stuff that Don Lemon said. That's so controversial, so behind the scenes that it's just. But you don't see sponsors pulling out of that.
No, and with a lot of the issues that get ignored, the 13 dead soldiers in Afghanistan.
Yeah, they didn't want to even mention their name. We had to mention their names here.
And I applaud you for that, because it's so important. We can't forget that we got 13 dead American soldiers killed in Afghanistan.
It didn't have to be.
We got Americans left behind to fend for themselves. But a lot of people, what a lot of the big media doesn't talk about is they don't talk about the freedom fighters there in Afghanistan. There is a group called the Northern Alliance. They are fighting for their country. Mm-hmm. They're Afghans. Some of them used to be in the Afghani security forces, I think. And they're fighting for their country, Masoud and Saleh. And both of those guys are fighting up there in the Panjshir Valley, and they're well fortified up there. Mm-hmm. And the lamestream media in the United States doesn't even want to talk about it. And these are the good guys. There's a lot they don't talk about. They just came to Wickenburg on the demonstrations where they're at the high school. And the left is pushing their radical, progressive, Marxist agenda on the children.
So it's pretty strong over there?
It's happening right now. And I've talked with some of the students. I've talked with some of the parents. Some of the parents are pulling their kids out of the school. The superintendent and the principal of the school just had last week an emergency meeting with parents and students and the community. And they basically stated that they're going to go with what the left is telling them, because they don't want to lose $1 million in funding for the school. Wow. Which is why they're caving to the left. And I think it's outrageous, and I am very happy to say I've met some of these students, the students that protested, that are standing up to the radical left, and I said, I'm going to stand with you, and the Patriots will stand with you.
And what about the businesses over there in Wickenburg? Are they going to be affected by this mask mandate?
Right now, we haven't really seen that, because a lot of them are small, independently owned businesses like mine. I have stated I am not going to mask up. I actually took I sided with the business in Florida. As you know, there was a business in Florida that says we're not going to serve Biden supporters. My company isn't going to do it either. If we knowingly know that they're Biden supporters, we're going to say, get your service someplace else. It's inexcusable what he is doing to this country. But we as Americans have to stand up and fight back.
Okay, you want to give them your webpage and your phone number so they can reach you?
If they want to reach us with the Patriots of Wickenburg, we're on Facebook. Just look up the Patriots of Wickenburg. My number is 480-980-8541. And if they're looking for, in regards to the house race, my website is www.rosenforaz.com, or they can just do rosenforaz.com.
And we thank you for being on our show. After our show, we have In the Booth with Jim Bunner. He'll be preceding us right away, and he has a very great program. Please listen to the Chips and Salsa. Watch our podcast. Tell your friends about the Chips and Salsa show. Go on Central City. Get the Central City radio app. It's free. And go to Talk Central. We're also, like I said earlier, on iHeart Radio now. And we're also on YouTube and Facebook, the Chips and Salsa show. So tune in next week. I don't know who the guest is going to be next week, so I apologize for that. But we'll post it on our page. Again, listen to the podcast, listen to the show if you miss it, and have your friends listen to the show. And thank Mr. Julian Ellison for his fantastic work behind the scenes over here, keeping us in order. Without Alice here, because Alice keeps us in order, and then Julian and Alice, but we're kind of running amok today. But tune in next week, next Tuesday, right before my trip, and I have a lot to talk about my trip to South Carolina next week. So thank you, and tune in again to the Chips and Salsa show. This is Don Nohl with my guest host,
Reverend Myron Jackson,
of the coming Myron
Jackson show, coming to you soon.
Coming to you soon. So tune in for that. But
When you need to know, this is Talk Central, a Central City radio station.
This is a Fox News alert. It's confirmed. I'm Lisa Lacera. Federal authorities say the remains found in Grand Teton National Park over the weekend are those of the young woman who's been